All right, it is showtime. Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome back to another ladies podcast show. Tonight, it is just conversations with your girl, yours truly, Deborah. Just conversations with Deborah on this beautiful, beautiful Sunday. And before I begin, I just hope that everyone had an awesome Thanksgiving. Hope you had time to spend time with family and friends. You know, those who love and care for you. There is nothing like being around love during the holidays. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And before I dive into the show, I also want to, because I always forget to plug my book. So I'm going to do that right now. It is already up on the screen for you guys. Why God Answers a Sinner's Prayer. As I have shared before, Why God Answers a Sinner's Prayer is essentially, it's a story of my life, some processes, some journeys that took place in my lifetime, and I give a different perspective. It's not the question, the answer to the question is not what you would traditionally think or how you would traditionally answer it. So I think it is a book that will be beneficial, very helpful, very insightful, definitely from a spiritual perspective. As you know, I like to give my input on that side. So if you have not already, please be sure to check out Why God Answers a Sinner's Prayer. And right now, I'm just going to take the time to put the link in the chat for you guys. There it is. Well, it's coming. It's coming. So, Why God Answers a Sinner's Prayer is there for you. So, I would love, 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 love your support. And also, we used to have a banner, and I was always wondering, like, where is that? Well, not banner, but the barcode for the show. So you can just click on it and subscribe without us having to tell you, okay, go to YouTube. Social Ladies Podcast Show is back up, guys. Look in the, I think it's my upper right hand corner there. You can just take your cell phone, put it on the barcode, QR code, and scan it, and it'll take you directly to the Ladies Podcast Show. So if you haven't already, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and you may even be able to take a picture of that barcode and share it. But if not, it is there for you guys now. And so, with that being said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can be more centered, okay, and more focused on the screen for you guys. All right, and I do have an announcement other than our new line, our lineup that is scrolling here that tells you what our lineup for the latest podcast show. Velma every other Monday, Felisa every Tuesday, and myself now. I know I have said it over and over again. I'm thinking about going live every Sunday versus every other Sunday. So hey, I've jumped out there and I've taken the breaks off. I'll be for you guys every Sunday, and that new lineup is there. You may not see the Wednesday lineup because we have. I've spoken to Lisa, and by choice, made a decision to step back from the Wednesday show. And so I'll be focused. For Lisa, who's already here every Tuesday, she'll be focusing more on her show on Tuesdays, and now that I'm every Sunday, definitely be focusing more on my show on Sundays. But nevertheless, you get all three of us gals as you typically would. The Ladies Podcast Show. We are here with the new lineup, so check it out. All right, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into the topic. The topic is the enemy within. The enemy within. Now, this is different than, I think there's an old movie out there that was called Sleeping with the Enemy. No, we're going to be talking about something a little bit different tonight. We're not going to be talking about, even though that's possible too, but we're going to be talking about the enemy within. How you could be your own worst enemy, how that can impact your life, how that can keep you from progressing, moving forward in your life. And if you've been on the Ladies Podcast Show, Just Conversations with Deborah on Sunday, I talk about how good and bad exist within all of us. And so depending on, your life experience or whatever, be it, good or bad, you can tend to lean more towards one versus the other. And to me, when I talk about the enemy within, I'm more so saying to myself, okay, Deborah, are you leaning more towards the negative aspect of your being, your existence? Are you being, focusing more so on the negative versus the good? And if so, why might they be? Why might that be? And even yet, how can we identify if that is what we are doing? Self-sabotaging is another way of saying it. I also talk about, always go within, talk about self-realization, self-actualization, and real, just being aware who you are as a human being, as a person, would help you to do that. And I think somebody on the last Sunday show that I did, I was talking about introspection, and one of our viewers stated that that is very rare, meaning that it's very rare for a person to just sit with themselves and examine themselves in a way that is not so positive, so to speak, but more so, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing wrong? Why did this happen? Could there have been a better choice? Could you have made a different decision that would have gave you a better outcome? And so he's absolutely right, because even at times I'm going to be honest, even at times when I try to do some introspection, you would not believe the thoughts. Our mind is constantly racing all the time, be it good thoughts, negative thoughts, positive or bad. It does not matter. Our mind is constantly just chatter, 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 chatter. And so even in those moments of introspection where you just really try to sit with yourself, and be like, okay, is it me? Is it me? Is it me? Could have done something differently. Talking from experience, you would talk yourself out of some stuff. Do you hear me? You can seriously talk yourself out of some stuff, especially when you're because it doesn't feel good. Introspection, self-realization does not feel good, especially if you're kind of, tapping yourself on the hand like, no, you could have done better. You could have handled that differently. Shame on you. It is I'm going to agree with our viewer. It is very rare for us to sit with ourselves and have that type of introspection, and telling ourselves that we could have done better. We could have moved a little bit differently. I get it. I do it sometimes, but I really, really, really have to hone in and say, look, you are human, not to beat yourself up, because it's not about beating yourself up. It's about understanding who you are as a being. On this show, I talk about, how I believe and I experience in numerology, and it's more so I can get better to know who I am, and not necessarily from experience, so to speak, because sometimes experience can be a hard teacher, and ooh, wait, if I can just get a better understanding of how Deborah would move, act, respond to certain scenarios and certain people, and be able to customize how I respond or how I react, so maybe it will be more favorable, then I want to do that. I want to know who I am. I want to be able to just not live this life just bumping in the dark, and just guessing at life. Some things are not going to be just figured out. I get that. But the most part, when I'm talking about interacting or having an impact on my life and other people's lives, I do want to be more purposeful. I want to live a more purposeful, meaningful life. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just that you got to be tough. You got to do the work, willing to do the work. And that means sitting with yourself sometimes, correcting yourself sometimes. And, when it comes to people that love you, family members, someone, your partner, your husband, wife, whatever the case may be, when they may bring constructive criticism to you, I know some being self, you're going to be more reluctant to receive it. You're going to get on the defensive side, and you're going to come up with every justification as to why you did what you did or how, whatever. But I tell you, it is so much, you will have a different experience or outcome in your life, in your decisions and the things that you choose to do. Because you may have heard me say on this show, getting to know myself better, because I want to exist in this world to where I'm not causing any hurt, harm, or danger to anyone. At worst it'll be to myself, but at least with introspection you can go within and say, okay, how could you have done things differently? How could you have moved differently, and chose different words. So we're going to get in here and start off with the kick off some questions, answering some questions. Hello, Magic Smith. Welcome to the Ladies Podcast Show. And if you guys are just tuning in, I think I may have spent the first 5 minutes talking about my book, talking about the different lineup for the Ladies Podcast Show, the Wednesday night show with myself and Felisa. That the last show that we will be doing or have done was the Wednesday before last. And Lisa will be focusing more so on her Tuesday show, and I'll be focused on Sunday. I will be here every Sunday versus every other Sunday. Tonight we're talking about the enemy within. Yes, yes, yes. I'm talking about you, talking about myself. And who's a better teacher than yourself? Teach yourself. But we can only go within and stop looking outside of ourselves for everything, for every answer. It's all there. It always has been there. All right, so we're going to get into question number 1. I'm going to slow it down long enough to get to question number 1. What are some common feelings or thoughts that people might struggle with as their enemy within? Well, I talked about being self-sabotaging. There may be something positive, a positive move that you're making in your life. Whether it is dealing with a romantic relationship, you're going from dating, you found the one in your life, you found the one for you, and you want to move forward, and if maybe enter into marriage, which is great, which is awesome. Or you may be thinking about a career move. You could be thinking about, having children. You may be thinking about relocating. You may be thinking about making a big purchase, something that you've always wanted and can afford, but here comes the enemy within throwing out every possible scenario and negative scenario, if I might add, as to why you should not do it. Everything that you can think of, it's like the enemy within, that negative self, when you're leaning more towards the negative self, versus the bad versus the good, is going to throw the kitchen sink at you. You don't need that new car. What you need that new car for? The old one works just as well. All you got to do is throw a new pair of tires on it, give it a new paint job. You just want to get it to show off, or you just want to do it because such and so got it. Or let's say, like I said, as an example, dating. You've been with this person for, for years, for a minute, at least long enough to get a good idea if this is the person for you. You know how that person makes you feel. If that person got your best interest in mind. And so you're thinking, okay, from a guy's perspective, I'm going to go ahead on and propose. And then lo and behold, it is so funny how sometimes, when you start to make a positive move in your life, how sometimes family members or friends, just out of the blue, be like, they may throw something out there that's in alignment with what you were thinking. In this scenario, getting married, you may not, boy, I tell you, I've been married for such and such time, and if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't get married, blah, blah, blah. You start hearing all this negative stuff about a positive move or associated with a positive move that you were going to make in your life. And you get the one like, what in the world? I didn't even tell this person I was planning on doing this, but it's kind of funny how the universe works sometimes. And like I said, they say anytime that you are looking to do something good or positive, the devil is there to do, to do something, opposite of that. But, I always say everything is within, and another example, if you're looking at making a career move, a career change, I'm going to even use going back to school as an example. Man, here I am sitting at 45 years old. I haven't been in school and God knows when. I haven't cracked open a book and I don't know how long. I don't know, what are the test questions? What if I can't pass what if I don't get accepted? Man, I've never taken the ACT. What if I don't get a high enough score to where a college, accepts me? What if I get into this thing and I end up losing my job and I can't afford to pay for the classes? Do you guys see where I'm going with this? Every time you think about doing something, I'm telling you, it may be so. Just as an example, just for you guys to test it out. Think of something that good that you want to happen. Maybe something you've been sitting on for a while. You've been, tinkering, on the fence or whether to do it or not. Just pretend you want to do something and just watch those negative thoughts just beat you down. and beat you down more so than anybody else, and you will talk yourself out of doing it. You will talk yourself out of doing it. And it's easier said than done, because fear, I'm going to say that. I'm going to say fear can be so paralyzing. I've done it to myself from time to time. I want to take a trip, but what if it requires you to get on a plane? What if the plane crashes? What if it gets hijacked? Yada, yada, yada. And you never, ever leave solid ground because you're fear of flying. Fear to me is associated with the enemy within. The negative thought patterns, being self-sabotaging, because fear can be so paralyzing. And if you don't believe me, turn on the news. For those who like to watch the news, or even don't, turn on the news. I guarantee you 95% of what the news is feeding you is going to cause fear and some level of anxiety within you, because it's never anything positive, never anything good. And I recall someone saying to me, when it comes to those negative thoughts, that paralyzing fear, they say less than, I don't know, 1% of that stuff actually even unfolds, actually even becomes true. So when those negative thought patterns start to form in your mind, just say, throw something positive at it. Well, what if the plane crashes? Well, what if it don't? Well, what if you apply, to go to this college and you don't get accepted? Well, if that college doesn't accept me, there's eons of other colleges that just might. You see where I'm going to this and going with this? And this aligns with what I've shared, over and over again. Sometimes you got to be your own cheerleader. You got to be, you got to push past the negative and think more so on the positive. And so that's what tonight's show is about. The enemy within. I know on the Ladies Podcast show, we talk a lot about, the family members, the friends, that you may have fallen out with, they never support you. They look for your downfall. But no, tonight we are talking about self. We are talking about self, being self-sabotaging, because we allow the fear and the negative thought patterns to just beat us down to where we never even leave the porch. So that's what we're talking about tonight. If you're just now joining the Ladies Podcast show, Just Conversation with Deborah, barcode is right there. Please be sure to scan it, like, share, subscribe, and our new lineup is scrolling across the top there. All right, we're gonna get in here to see any questions may have come through. Okay, we finna. Did you win? I have no idea who this person is, but we're gonna block you because your comments, they're just not in alignment with how we do things over here at the Ladies Podcast show. But you're more than welcome to continue watching. You just can't comment. We need positive thoughts over here. Positive thoughts. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to get into question number 2. How can recognizing your own enemy within help you become a stronger person? Well, like I said, the toughest thing is going to be self-realization, self-awareness, introspection, going within and really doing the hard work to better understand who you are as a person. In order for you to better understand who you are as a person, that's self-awareness, you have got to be willing to accept the good and the bad that exists within you. All is not good, that we, it's the yin and the yang. I talk about that on the show all the time. There's the yin and the yang, and you have got to be willing to say, okay, this is who I am. I tend to do some unfavorable things. I tend to say some unfavorable things, and you have got to be willing to accept that. And until you are able to accept who you are, and in accepting who you are, I love who you are. Because like I said, even though good and bad exists within all of us, we don't have to exercise the bad. We don't have to lean towards the negative. The most important thing is recognizing it when it surfaces. Recognizing it when it surfaces. I would rather cause myself hurt, harm, or danger than to cause that hurt, harm, or danger to someone else. Because if you've been on this show, you know that I always talk about the universe is going to find balance. The universe is going to strike balance. If you've ever done something to hurt someone, be it by deed, word, whatever the case may be, even if you meditated on it, you plotted on it, or whatever, however you carried it out, and you knew your intentions was to cause that person some kind of hurt, harm, or put them in some sort of danger, that is going to come back to you twofold. Now, I can't tell you it's going to happen to you tomorrow, the next day, next week, or even in this lifetime, but the universe is going to find balance. It's going to strike balance. And guess what? Even though you may say, okay, and realize self-actualization, yeah, I did that, and you had some second thoughts about it after you've done it, but you've already planted the seed, the root has already come up, and now the fruits of your labor, being as good labor and a bad labor, is now here. It's here in the present. So even though you may have changed from that person that you were back then, that had no problem at all exercising that indeed or be it word that caused the other person to hurt, it's too late. Great, change. You recognize that you were wrong. But guess what? That whole process or whatever, that is taking place, whether that person be like, whoever you cause harm to decide not to deal with you anymore, or whatever the case may be, you got to let them work through that process. Even though you're different and whatever. And here's the thing too. Here's another thing too. Like I said, I went to, hopefully you guys spent some time this holiday season with family and friends, people that love you, that, that want to surround themselves, be a part of your day, be a part of Thanksgiving and share it with you. We spent time with family and friends, and such a beautiful occasion. Such it's just beautiful to be able to spend time with people, family and friends, people that love you, so to speak. And here's the thing, because I know I have people, family, friends, who things may have happened to them, long time ago, and it's difficult for them to shake it. It's difficult for them to move past it. And because of that reason, they may not come around a said family member, and they may not come around a particular friend. And you can tell, even though it may have happened so many years ago, they hurt from it. They still hurt from it. And what I heard was, in that moment, when it was being discussed, what I heard was, is it so hard to apologize? When you yourself recognize what you've done to that person and you hurt them, is it so hard to apologize? Instead of just trying to sweep it under the rug and trying to roll on, like ain't nothing ever happened, hee ha ha, just because 5 or 10 years done passed, or that person forgot about it, I'm just gonna slip on back here like nothing ever happened. But guess what? Some people may be able to just forget about it, let it roll off, and then pick back up with you like nothing happened. But I'm here to tell you, there are people that cannot. There are people that cannot, and it's just so hard to apologize. In this moment of introspection, self-realization, self-awareness, going down memory lane and just thinking about what you may have done to cause a family or friend some pain. Is it so, at that moment when you realize, yes, you did that, and yes, you were wrong, is it so difficult to apologize? You let so many years go past, and I'm telling you, life is beautiful. It is meant to be live with people that, that love and care for you. I know how people say, just because you're family, that don't mean anything. Just because they're your blood don't mean anything. But doggone it, it should mean something. The Creator made no mistake in birthing you in the family that you're birthed in. Believe that. I've heard people say, I was born into the wrong family. No, you weren't. And when you say that, in essence, you're saying that God got it wrong. The Creator got it wrong. You should have been birthed into a different family altogether. But guess what? Those family members that may be a challenge to you, that get under your skin, you just cannot see eye to eye. Like my Reiki practitioner told me, there's a lesson to be learned, not just in the one that is being, not just the victim, but the villain as well. If you are a victim, or you're one of those individuals that has been hurt by someone, or like I said, if you're in the family with people that just challenge you, it is something to be learned in that moment. It is something to be learned in those moments of difficulty. And you have to sit with yourself. What is the topic tonight? The enemy within. You have got to learn to sit with yourself. And I know it's difficult. You may say, Deborah, you sure letting it roll off your tongue like it ain't no fly on your back, like the duck water roll down the back of a duck. I get it. No, it's hard for me. It's even hard for me. I mean, because I recognize within myself, there are things that I may have said that may have, not should have came out the way it did. And then in that moment, so have I said, okay, well, dang, I should have said that differently. And then at that moment, do I go and try to correct? No, I know I haven't, but that's something that I work on. When I bring these topics to the show, believe it or not, 9 times out of 10 is through my own experience, my own self-reflection. And so, no, the Creator did not get it wrong when you were birthed into the family that you were birthed in. And you may say, well, Deborah, I done tried. I done tried to get along with this family member. I done tried to, if it was me, I done tried to make it right. I done tried to, to make sure that I don't, do anything that may cause any friction. Well, good for you. You give yourself a clap on the back. And so in that moment, when you realize, okay, what has been said, what has been done that may have hurt you, and then you do some self-introspection and you say, okay, what could I have done differently? And at that moment, you realize what you could have done differently. And then you say to yourself, all right, that's growth. That's evolution. That is evolving versus just getting on that same wheel of toxicity like a hamster on a wheel, just turning. You're going to get the same outcome. And granted, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. 1,000%. You cannot make a person do right by you. You cannot make a person love you. You cannot make a person respect you. You are absolutely right. So, Deborah, what do I do in those situations? As long as you have done what you should do in a matter of love, showing love, not talking down on that person, not trying to be tick for tat, going at it tick for tat, because you're going to get the same result. What you put out, whatever you put out, you're going to get that back. And so what you should do, all right, maybe, have some distance, maybe not be in their presence as much as you typically would if they not have done said thing to you, because I wouldn't have you to suffer in anyone's presence, especially if that person constantly, beating up on you, whatever the case may be. I wouldn't say suffer in their presence, but limit your presence. You can show love from a distance. And hopefully one day that friend or family member realize themselves with some self-actualization, realization, and introspection that maybe, okay, I'm the problem. I'm the one that is causing this friction. I'm the one that's causing the family unit to break down. Instead of accusing someone else or pointing the finger, I am the one. And like I tell you, that is not going to happen overnight, because that is like working through some tough, dark stuff within yourself. And that's what the night is about. The enemy within, going within yourself and seeing how you can improve, how you can evolve as an individual, right? So, and before I get the question, so let me make sure I answer question number 2. How can, and I'm going to put it on the screen. How can recognizing your own enemy within help you become a stronger person? So I think I have, based on what I just shared, understanding yourself. What are you doing, maybe doing to cause the problem? And growing from that, once you realize that, and growing from that and making some choices and decisions to move a little bit differently, to speak a little bit differently. And then the individual, whoever that is on the receiving end, hopefully, they also learn as well and grow from it as well. And before I move on to question number 3, I do want to give some more insight on this topic. I really, really do, because I want to bring it home. Not like I said, I look to learn myself, but I really want to bring it home for others who may be struggling in this area. Because as the subject states, a person, when they are their own worst enemy, it suggests that a person feels like they're causing their own problems or obstacles. I talked about that. when you're looking to make a positive change in your life, whether it's, buying something, making a big purchase, going back to school, making a career change, you can be your own problem, your own obstacle, because like I said, that mind is going to get going and get going. And 9 times out of 10 is more negative than positive. You're going to talk yourself out of something. This can happen when you're overcritical of yourself. That's another thing. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist. And these are on my own personal views and thoughts based on my own experiences. But sometimes, I believe when you're overly critical of yourself, it could stem from childhood. Maybe you had an unsupportive mom or unsupportive dad, and they never said anything, poured anything good into you, never lifted you up and say, you can do it, you can do it, good job, job well done, I'm proud of you. Maybe you never heard those things, but maybe you heard, you're no good, you ain't good for anything, you're never gonna grow up to be anything. I don't even know why I had you. Believe it or not, it gets pretty critical out there. For some kids growing up, they may not have that support unit like some people, some of their friends may have, and that can really, I'm gonna say, stunt the growth of a child, because that mind, they already getting programmed at a young age to think negatively about themselves. So that you grow and you think, well, you grow up and mature as an adult, all that go away, you forget about it. Actually, you don't. You don't. That's when the stuff start really surfacing, because you're maturing now. Mentally and emotionally, you're getting out in life more as an adult and experiencing different people, different situations. And if you come in the company of a friend who has, to you in your mind, the perfect family unit, a loving mother, loving father, grew up in a home with both parents, the relationship between the sisters and brothers are good, and you start to reflect back on what your childhood used to be. Man, I remember mom said this. I remember the mom's, dad said that. And it becomes difficult, especially if you don't talk it out with someone, to try to reform your thinking, that, not to be so critical of yourself, and start building yourself up and being more positive about yourself, and about life. It can be difficult. It can. It's not going to go away. It's almost like rehab. You have to rehab your emotions. I need to coin that. You almost have to rehab your emotions from negative people. Like I said, if your mom and dad were not supportive, you can get in verbally abusive relationships where a partner talk down on you, make you think that you can't do anything on your own without them, like you can't think for yourself, and it becomes crippling. And then when you do try to step out and do more, become more, that's when that little negative demon comes, that critical thinker comes. You start thinking critically about yourself. Well, maybe I can't. They said I can't. I remember I tried to do this and did not fail. So maybe they're right. Maybe I can't do it. Maybe it's just not in me. Lies. It's fear mongering. All of it is fear based. And if you can just be your own best cheerleader, pat yourself on the back, and just take a chance on yourself. That's all I'm saying tonight. Learn how to silence that enemy within and encourage yourself to take a chance on yourself. How many times can you say you done took a chance on other people? You done sat back and you done observed other people, their success, how things are just blossoming in their life, how they got so much love around them. And you so quick to champion those people because you like they're already doing it. So yeah, you want to jump on their success wagon. How about you build your own success wagon? How about you lift yourself up from time to time for a change? How about you silence the enemy within for a change? And step out on you. Encourage yourself. Silence the naysayers, because they're there too. And just see and just take a chance. Oh my goodness. If you've never flown on a plane and you want to go to some exotic island, or go to Europe, go to Italy, France, Greece, wherever, and the only reason you have not done that because you are afraid of flying, take a chance. Take a chance. And just see how life opens up for you. It's a beautiful thing, guys. Life is meant to be lived. Life is meant to be enjoyed. And if we can just push past the fear mongering, the naysayers, and just see how things just blossom for you. So, a little bit more insight on this topic before I move on to question number 3, self awareness. Recognizing that you might be your own worst enemy, as we have said, is an important step towards self awareness. How beautiful it would be to know yourself. Knowing learning the voices in your head, because guess what? They ain't going nowhere. But learning those voices in your head and learning how to lean towards one versus the other, mute the other, listen loudly to the other. And it just means you're beginning to understand how your thoughts and actions impact your life. Your thoughts, your actions impact your life. All right, we're gonna move on to question number 3 before I get a little bit too further into that and see if we got any questions out there. All righty. Magic Smith, can you dig it? I can dig it. Dig it, Magic. But we're gonna get to B. Walker said, recognizing. Let me go ahead and put my statement up here. Recognizing your enemy within fosters self-awareness. Absolutely. Allowing you to address and overcome personal fears. Ooh, that thing is, if you guys only knew how deep that one is. Conquering personal fears, if you only knew how deep that one is. And this is for me too. I'm a practicer. I'm practicing. I'm practicing to get better myself, y'all. Fears and doubts. The doubts, like I said, you can talk yourself out of some beautiful things happening and unfolding in your life. Ultimately building resilience and inner strength. Toughening up. Like I said, taking a chance on yourself. Taking a chance on life. Silencing those naysayers. Take a chance on yourself. That's all I'm saying. Take a chance on yourself. Crypto Music Cap said, knowing your enemy within helps you. Oh, let me put the statement up. Sorry. Knowing your enemy within helps you see your fears and worries. By facing them, you learn and grow stronger, just like a hero in a story. That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. You becoming your own hero. Becoming your own hero. Knowing your enemy within. See, knowing, that's another key word. Knowing your enemy within. And saying that it's not going anywhere. I hope you guys didn't misunderstand me when I'm saying silencing the enemy within. I meant silencing. It's not going anywhere. Like I said, those we have so many thoughts run through our head on a day-to-day basis. But meditation helps to hone in on your thoughts and recognizing that you're gonna find, like I did, 9 times out of 10, you got more negative thoughts going through your head than positive. Then that's when you got to recognize that and start speaking positive into your life, positively into your life. And there was something beautiful that my husband said, and I should have known better. Over our holiday time, he said he doesn't allow anyone to speak anything negative over him, and he rightfully stated, don't let anyone speak anything negative over you, whether it's something like a sickness or a disease, something that runs in the family. Just because it runs in the family, don't have to mean it has to run through you. It is so important to understand that creation starts up here in the mind. Whatsoever a man thinketh, so is he. I think I said that right, that scripture right. Whatsoever a man thinketh, so is he. If we only understand how powerful our thoughts are. And that's why I think it's so important to know the enemy within. It's so important to be self-aware of who we are, the thoughts that run through our minds, and understanding how to maneuver to make, to move differently after you understand that. Not only will you be impactful to yourself in a more positive way, what you give out into the world, into the universe will be more of love versus hate. Courage versus, fear. All those positive things you will start to see in the world. And I know right now, like I said, you turn on the news, it seems like the world is just falling. Everything is just going wrong. Oh my God, the food is killing us. The water is killing us. We're trying to go to war with such and such. Oh my goodness, the person we wanted in office did not get, voted in. Oh my God, he's going to do this. It's all fear. Just listen to it. It's all fear. Be the change that you want to see in the world, meaning to me, On a macro level, you may not be as impactful, but on a micro level, how you maneuver and think in your own universe, your own world, you're going to start seeing those things, more positive things, because I think more positive. I'm drawing more positive, loving people into my life because I'm being a more positive, upbeat individual. It's real. It's real. Hey, Wanda. Hey, cuz, how are you doing? Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in to the Ladies Podcast Show. I hope what I'm sharing tonight resonates not only with you, but with our other viewers as well. Because my goal has always been on the Sundays podcast show. It's just to shed a little bit more light into the world, and that a little bit more love, and that starts with me, and it starts with you. And the world is just a much beautiful, happier place where we understand that when God created creation, he did it out of love. He created everything under the sun. And so in your own micro world of creation, when you create it, as God spoke it, so it was. Whatever a man thinketh, so is he. Think those things that you want to happen in your life. And part of that is patience. And I'm gonna be honest. I have come a long way when it comes to being patient, because in the past I have not been the most patient person in the world, and I've as I said, I've become my own worst enemy in that. If I would have I'm going to use jobs as an example. The way my personality works, if something becomes mundane and routine, I get bored. I get to looking around. What else can I do differently? Where else can I go? And being awesome on the job, but if I wanted to grow, up the ladder, whatever, I have cheated. I'm not gonna say cheated, but I've walked myself. I thought myself out of it because I done moved on to another team or doing something differently. And now these are new people I'm working with, and they don't know me. They don't know how I performed over here. So now I've caused myself to start over and over and over and over and over again. And so I've learned to push through it somewhat. Like I said, it never goes away. The enemy within never goes away, but you learn how to silence it and, make, different decisions. That's all I'm saying. Different decisions. All right, we're going to go to question number 3. Can you think of a story or movie where a character faces their enemy within? How do they overcome it? Oh my gosh. Ooh. I don't know. You guys are going to have to help me out with that one. I watch television. I do, but I am terrible with remembering titles. It's hard for me to remember titles of movies, songs. I don't know. It just never sticks with me. But I'm pretty sure there are several movies out there, TV shows or whatever. And I need you guys to help me on this one. Can you think of a story or movie where a character faces their enemy within? How did they overcome it? I don't know. Some of these movies I don't watch, they never did overcome it. It didn't necessarily end too well with them. Because if you look at The Color Purple, Danny Glover, that's a classic. The Color Purple is a classic. He was terrible to Celia. Him and his kids as she said, made her life near hell. And by the time he did realize what he had done to her and had some remorse or regretted what he had done to Celia, she was over it. She was out. She was like, Celia, out. I got my sister, my kids coming back from Africa. We're going to sit around and wipe your ass. She was, she already said she was going to be the executioner. She was going to be, his karma. But by the time, like I said, he realized that, what he had done to her, operating on the negative side of his character, which in this movie, I say he did very, very well. He did some stuff to sell it. She endured some things. But by the time he was, I'm going to say this. Let me roll it back. He was the reason. It just came to me. I guess I thought of a movie after all. He was the reason that Celia's sister and her children were able to come back to America. And I think the pastor too, who raised Celia's children. All of them, the pastor's wife had passed. He was the reason. Yep, he was the reason they were able to come back to America. I think he went to immigration. He provided the necessary documentation and paperwork to prove that they were Americans. And I think he even paid for them to come back. And okay, that unfolded quite beautifully. Yeah, he faced the enemy. He faced what he had done, and he tried to, and he made some steps to correct it. Now, although the damage had already been done, and there was nothing he could do to reach back in the past and try to heal her from what he had done, or to he did correct. He couldn't correct it. Let me just say that, but he tried to make amends. He made a way for her sister, and her family to come back to America. And I think towards the end, he was walking a horse in the fields, and it's like, what was the character name? Should she spotted him? It's like they made eye contact, and she was like, well done, well done. All right, so there you go. Question number 3. I did it. All right, I'm gonna move on to question number 4. Why is it sometimes difficult to notice the enemy within ourselves or in a group we belong to? Because it's difficult. I said that it's hard. It's not pain free. When you slapping yourself on the hand and telling yourself you were wrong, that was bad of you, that was wrong of you to handle her like that, to handle him like that. You shouldn't have done that. You could have done it differently. It's hard to tell yourself that. It is hard to give yourself constructive criticism. And is even harder. I don't know. Maybe it's equally as hard to even receive it from someone. It's not an easy thing, but I tell you, it's worthwhile. The moments I have set with myself, and it can be heartbreaking to know that you may have wronged someone and what kind of harm, emotional turmoil you may have caused that person. It can be heartbreaking. But the thing is, like I said, don't beat yourself up too bad, because we are human. Good and bad exists within us all. It's not like we can just completely turn either or off. We just got to learn how to grow and evolve and become better people, better human beings, to ourselves and to other people. And if you're a part of a group, that means you're accepting of this group that you're a part of. You believe in this group that you're a part of. You stand for whatever this group of people stand for as well. And so you team A, it's like almost like the Bible. It's like you're your own walking Bible. You believe strongly, in what you do, and what be it good or bad, until you do some introspection. It's the same thing for a group of people that you're a part of. You're not going to be hanging with a group of people and doing what they do or whatever if you don't believe in, what they stand for or their purpose. So hence, there it is. There it is. So that's the answer to that. All right, we are going to see if we can catch some more comments. Hey Felisa, how are you doing? Lisa is very real. The people of this world rest more love. Need more love. Absolutely. We all could use it. I mean, there's, I don't know anyone who's always operating up here in a cloud. I mean, because I believe this life, we're here to learn and to grow in love. And so in order to know that you are learning and growing in love, there's going to be some challenges. Just who those challenges are going to come from. That is the unknown, and growing and understanding how to respond and to react in a way that sheds you in a better light is only going to help you, and it's going to help the other person. And you may be like, okay, my love is falling flat towards this person. It's not being received. But you know what? You plant seeds. Just keep doing it. Every chance you get, you plant seeds. And just, watch it grow. It's going to grow, because whatever you sow it, you shall reap. Whatever you sow, you shall reap. And that's why I always say I want to live a purposeful, meaningful life. I don't always get it right. My actions are not always well intended. My words, because I'm human. If you strike at me, I have a tendency to strike back. Now mine may be a little bit more delayed because it's a little bit more strategic, but I eventually do, because I'm human. But I want to get better than that. I want to be better than that. Lisa said, "Oh, hi, Irvin. Welcome, welcome, welcome." Lisa said, "What's love got to do with it, and how Tina overcame that ugly abuse?" Absolutely. Now, the abuse that Tina Turner went through with Ike, I mean, she could have just sat in that thing. She could have just marinated in her hurt, and did not seek to grow and do better from it. She could have done that, but she didn't. She eventually married again, and she stayed married to her new husband till death did them part. She did. She grew from it. She recognized what it did to her, and she wanted to improve. She wanted to empower herself, become a better person, and she did that. She actually did that. All right, Lisa said constructive criticism is the best way. I think because I hate to lie to a person, set them up for failure. Absolutely, because life is cyclical. It'll come back around to you. You're wondering why things never go right for you. You feel like, okay, I've been, on a good path. All these wonderful, beautiful things are happening for me. Then all of a sudden, wham! You're like, where'd that come from? What did I do? Could have been something that you did 6 months ago. But the universe is going to always strike that balance. It's going to always strike that balance. And that doesn't mean that, like I said, it's all about love, people. I don't know how to express that anymore. Even in the pain, there's some love to be birthed from it. Even in your pain, there is some love to be birthed from it. It's difficult to see. It's difficult to embrace someone that is always challenging you, that is always hurting you. Absolutely. The Bible said, turn the other cheek. I don't know what that means. Can somebody help me understand what that means? Ignore, just let them keep. Ain't no human being gonna keep doing, letting people just punch them and keep kicking at them, and no. And that's why I say, whether family or friends, that be it family or friends, when you recognize there's a challenging person, within your fold, a family, friends you can divorce, and you got to do nothing. And people say family members you can divorce too, but I'd rather not. I'd rather not. When it comes to family, I'd rather try to see how things can be worked out. And if that family member just continue to be a challenge to you, to your character, to who you are, never having anything loving to say, always negative towards you, to limit your exposure to them, limit your interaction. When you find them bothering your spirit, excuse yourself. That's what I would say do. And then you just keep giving out love to that person. And eventually, like I said, keep sowing those seeds, I know it's difficult. But keep trying. Keep trying. Keep trying and believing that something is going to blossom from it. I believe it will. I honestly believe it will. And guys, I may be preaching to y'all, but I'm preaching to myself. Like I said, I don't have it all figured out. I stumble at times. I fall at times. I can become my own worst enemy, get caught up in my head. As the subject said, the enemy within. I recognize that in myself. And I try to do better. I try to pause. But maybe, and try to look at things differently. I may even, consult my husband or other. Then sometimes you gotta be careful who you consulting with. Because I'm gonna be honest. You got family, friends, and they team, whoever they team, Deborah, they gonna always show love and give you the advice that and like, yeah, you right. No, you need somebody that's gonna be like, just look at it from a different perspective, be unbiased, in other words, and just try to look at things through a different lens. I encourage you to do that. It could be a complete stranger, don't know you or the person that you may have an issue with, and just say, let me run this by you. What do you think? You'd be surprised. Because like I said, you can get stuck in his head. You get stuck in his head for sure. Lisa said, oh, stop doing it. All right. Lisa said, I love family from a distance due to too much hurt and pain. Absolutely. Like I said, limit your exposure to them. Just limit your exposure to them. And you know what? When you lay down and before you go to bed, you pray. Whenever you pray, say a little prayer for them. I believe it. I'm old school. I believe prayer changes things. At the end of the day, Lisa said, at the end of the day, I'm the one who's giving more, giving more, doing more, being there more, and never get back in return when I need that same energy. And Lisa, you know what? Believe it or not, your story is so familiar. across so many people, so many regardless of race, age, or whatever. And I don't know what, other than that, just seems to always be the case. And I don't know if we should be just operate like this and just say, hey, I'm a good hearted, kind person, and I do things because I like to see people happy. I like to make other people happy. But I don't want to do it so much at my own expense that I am burning myself out, that I'm burning my own energy. And because you already know, like you just said, those people who you've done that for, they're not going to reciprocate. Then maybe you just, we talk about it, just throttle your love, throttle your kindness, because it's not going to be reciprocated. But at the times that you want to do things, do it full-heartedly, wholeheartedly, because it's just simply something that you want to do. And in your doing, identify those people who are energy vampires, who are just there to take, take, take. And I say to you, for those type of people, don't be such a giver towards those people, because you already know they're just there to take, take, take. I would even go as far as, like I say, limit your exposure to the ones that hurt you. Even cut your giving there. Like, no, I can't do it. I ain't got it, because that's the only reason they're in your circle, anyways. There to see what they can take versus what they can give. And as I always like to say, strike a balance wherever you can find that balance, whatever is comfortable for you, whatever set you at peace and not stressing you. I would definitely say seek to do that. Absolutely seek to do that, because it's all about, if you're off balance, you're off key, you're lacking in your energy, you putting your energy elsewhere, versus you always got to start with yourself. Feed yourself first. You're not able to do that because you're sending it out all over. Bring it back home. Bring it back home. And ain't nothing wrong with loving yourself a little bit more. Do you hear what I'm saying? There is nothing wrong. You got to love yourself first. You absolutely got to love yourself first. It's like being selfish. Being selfish. So you can, support yourself first. And only then should you be, seek to try to reach out and help others. Don't give what you ain't got. I know the preachers love to take what you ain't got to give, but I'm sitting there telling you, look, don't give what you ain't got. If you are depleted, then what you giving? Fumes? I know when you got gas. Look, when your tank is running low on gas and you almost on E, I know you can coast a little bit off them gas fumes. But baby, in life, in this thing called life, I declare, don't you try to coast through this life on no fumes. May your tank always be over full. Look, I'm gonna say, don't let it get half empty. In other words, because you're gonna expend some energy. Don't let it get half empty. If you on half, don't try to give out nothing else until you come a little bit above that. Even if you don't get all the way on full, don't you try to get nobody nothing that you already on half full. No, support yourself first. And only then should you seek to try to help other people. And that's just math to me. That's just 1 + 1 = 2. It's easier said than done. Especially if you are a people pleaser, always the yes person or whatever. I have to learn to tone that down, because some people they get energy out of seeing and helping, making other people happy. I get that. They do. But when you find yourself off in the corner somewhere because you done gave up all that you ain't got, you can't do that. You got to stop doing it. You got to stop doing it. And you're making yourself a target, to be honest. You're making yourself a target, and you're thinking that you're doing something so wonderful when you're depleting yourself. You're cheating yourself. Lisa said, love yourself first. Absolutely. Love yourself first. And it's okay to be selfish about it. I like that. I love that. It's okay to be selfish about it. Yeah. When you're up, us on E, who's going to fill it back up? Absolutely. I mean, look, you already know how that works. When it's time for somebody to pour it into you, they either can't be found or they ain't got it. Okay, so you got to manage that within yourself. You got to manage that yourself. Absolutely. Absolutely. Life is a beautiful thing when you put things into perspective, into the right perspective. understanding who you are as an individual, learning the enemy within. Stop talking yourself out of stuff. Stop being so overly critical of yourself, but at the same time, understanding how your action or your words may not just be causing you hurt or you harm, how it could be impacting others in your life or in your circle that you may come across. You don't, that's what you, like I said, for me, I'd rather cause myself some hurt and pain versus trying to, hurting somebody else. Universe is going to find that balance. What you put out, you're going to get it back. I'm here to tell you, you're going to get it back. And before I go on to question number 5, I do want to share a little bit more insight. And it's about the negative self-talk, directly in alignment with what I'm saying tonight. Often being your own worst enemy involves negative self-talk. Never have anything positive to say for yourself, but always can be some positives, cheerleading for other people. And sometimes that can be because it's been ingrained in you, maybe from childhood or verbal abusive relationships. Let's recognize it. Let's heal from it. Let's grow from it. This includes doubting your abilities or being overly critical of yourself. Learn to replace those negative thoughts with positive affirmations. Whatever positive affirmations you can think of, write it down, repeat it to yourself, especially at the moments when your mind is overly critical, just overly negative. And then that's going to help you not to self-sabotage. It's going to help you to grow and open doors that you never thought were able to be open. And it's all because you know yourself better. You know the circle of people that you know the people that you surround yourself better, and you're learning how to maneuver. You're learning what to do, what not to do. You're learning what to say, what not to say. Ain't that beautiful? Ain't that a beautiful thing to live life on purpose? Instead of bumping around in the dark, ain't it beautiful to live life on purpose? And if you find it difficult to be your own cheerleader, you find it difficult to silence the negativity, look, seek support. Seek support, go. There's life coaches out there. Like I said, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. I'm just speaking from my own personal experience and looking to share some insight, to help myself grow as well. If anything that I say out there resonate with you, hopefully it'll help you as well. But the moral of this topic is getting to know yourself better. And I am a big proponent of getting to know yourself better. Absolutely. Lisa stated love is love coming to 2025 with a new experience of energy of love. Yes, I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm going to get to question number 5 before I close the show tonight. And I may have already talked about it, but I just want to put it on the screen anyways. What are some positive ways to deal with the enemy within when you recognize it in yourself? First step is recognize it, and then you can learn how to better maneuver. As I stated, you'll learn what to say, what not to say, what to do, what not to do. All in all, trying to ensure that you're not putting any hatred, causing any pain out in the world as much as possible. As I stated, we're human. We fall, we fumble, but we got to get back up. And if you need support, if there's support out there, if there's someone that you trust with your thoughts, your more intimate thoughts, whether it be a life coach or counselor, whoever, if you need that extra support, seek it. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you feel so much better when you get it out, when you verbalize it, when you get it out. Sometimes it's all you need is a listening ear, just to be able to verbalize it and to get it out. And with that being said, I thank you guys so much for joining me on Just Conversation with Deborah on this Sunday. As I mentioned, I will be here starting this Sunday, every Sunday, with different topics to share, different conversations to share with everyone. I do hope that you were able to, some of what I've said tonight has resonated with you guys and gave you some food for thought, so to speak. Our lineup is scrolling right there at the top. Velma every other Monday. Miss Felisa every Tuesday, and then I'm back here every Sunday at 7 p.m. And as you see, our Wednesday show is no longer on our roster, but you still have access to all 3 of us based on the line up here. If you haven't subscribed already, please be sure to scan this barcode, this beautiful barcode that's going to take you to our YouTube page where you can subscribe, hit that notification button, share it with somebody. We'd love to see you on one of these evenings. Thank you so much. Enjoy your beautiful Sunday, you beautiful creations of God. Thank you.